Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for stopping by. Figured I'd show some baseball cards again. I started doing this a few live streams ago, and I'm going to continue showing them. Hello to Speed Racer. Hello to Pretirement Days. Miss Betty, I hope you're doing well. Hello to Troy. Happy Thursday. I done a video earlier today of my autobiography series, and a lot of people know about Joe DiMaggio because he's a Hall of Famer. He dated Marilyn. He was married to Marilyn Monroe, and but his lesser known brother Dom DiMaggio. I wish I had Joe DiMaggio's autograph, but I don't. But my dad got his brother Dom DiMaggio's autograph, so that was what my topic was on today's video. And if you can't get somebody's autograph, get somebody related to them. It's like I wish I had Babe Ruth's autograph, but hey, at least I got his granddaughter's autograph. And same way with Joe DiMaggio's little brother Dom DiMaggio. Hello to Jeff. But I'm going to continue showing the 1993 Ted Williams cards and talking about each player a little bit, reading what it says on the backs. Here's Gary Carter. I always like to see Gary's name because that was my brother's name. So Gary Carter. This is where I left off last time, but in the Expos uniform. I wish we still had the Expos. Maybe they'll come back one day. But Gary Carter was a great catcher for the Expos. He was born in Culver City, California. One of the game's great catchers. After Johnny Bench retired, Carter was a double threat, capable of winning a game by hitting a home run or throwing out a runner. The 11-time All-Star and 3-time Gold Glove winner, was a fine clutch hitter. He had 10 career Grand Slams. That's a lot of Grand Slams. 10 Grand Slams. But Gary Carter was a great hitter. Another Expo. Steve Rogers. He was born in Jefferson, Missouri. Powerful right-hander known for his consistent excellence. Rogers spent his entire 13-year career with the Expos. This 5-time All-Star led the National League with 5 shutouts in 1979 and a 2.40 earned run average in 1982, the year he just missed becoming Montreal's first 20-game winner. So he went 19-8 in 1982. Hello to the Bud Files. Happy Thursday. Just looking at some 1993 Ted Williams baseball cards. It's always good to see some Expos cards. Rusty Staub. Hello to Sean, the Jedi Master. Hope you're doing well. Happy Thursday. His nickname, Daniel Joseph Staub, nicknamed Le Grand Orange, made his Major League debut April the 9th, 1963. The only man to appear in 500 games for four teams and collect 500 hits for all four. Yeah, he's a former Astro, that's right. Solid left-handed power hitter who made the All-Star team 6 times. I'm pretty sure he was an All-Star in 1968 when the All-Star game was at the Astrodome the first time, 1968. A right-hander who could throw but not run, Staub also played first and served as a fine designated hitter. Hello to Aaron. Happy Thursday. Aloha Thursday. Still showing the 1993 Ted Williams cards. Up next, we got Sal Maglie, the barber. Salvatore Anthony Maglie, the barber, born in Niagara Falls, New York. When the 1951 New York Giants parlayed a great stretch drive into a pennant, Maglie was one of the main reasons. He went 23-6, leading the National League in wins, known as the barber because he liked to pitch inside. Maglie pitched a no-hitter for the Dodgers in 1956. I like to keep up with people that have pitched no-hitters, so it's always good to read about people that did. So Sal Maglie's on that list of people that have threw a no-hitter. But he had 23 wins in 1951 for the New York Giants. Here's the guy that gave up Eddie Matthews' 500th home run, Juan Marichal, for the Giants. Juan Antonio Marichal, the Dominican dandy, born in Laguna Verde, Dominican Republic. Because his peak coincided with the best years of Sandy Koufax, Marichal never won a Cy Young Award. You know, that's another thing, you know, it amazes you that, hey, Juan Marichal never won a Cy Young, and neither did Nolan Ryan. You know, kind of hard to believe, but true. But in half of his 6 20-win seasons, he won at least 25 games. The high-kicking Dominican led the National League in wins, innings, shutouts, and complete games twice each. But imagine that, getting 25 wins, 26 wins in 3 different seasons, and you don't win the Cy Young Award. Pretty hard to believe. The low earned run average, all south of 2.5, which is awesome. Single-digit losses most of the time. One of the shortest names in baseball history, Mel Ott. Melvin Thomas Ott, born in Gretna, Louisiana. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1951. A 6-time home run king, Ott was the first National League slugger to reach the 400 home run plateau. So there's a trivia question. Who was the first National League slugger to hit 500 or more home runs? Mel Ott. He used an unusual batting stance in which he lifted his front foot in order to get his full weight behind the ball. You know, I like players that do the leg kick. You know, my favorite, Bo Jackson, had a leg kick. I always enjoy people that do the leg kick. Craig Biggio comes to mind, but there's a lot of people that done the leg, but Mel Ott as well. He had 9 100 RBI campaigns, but led the league only once. 151 RBIs in 1929. That's a lot of RBIs. I like to see the old New York Giants uniforms. Here's Robbie Thompson, the guy known for hitting the shot heard around the world. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant. Robert Brown Thompson, the Flying Scot, born in Glasgow, Scotland. All right, YouTube wants me to ask y'all a question. What is your favorite texture? Interesting question. I don't know how they got that one. Usually they're listening in and the question ties into something I've been talking about, but I don't think I've talked about texture yet. So, what is your favorite texture? But silky, silky's a nice texture for sure. I don't know what my favorite would be, but that's a good answer. Yeah, everybody has a unique talent. Microfiber is nice. Yeah. Robbie Thompson was triggered the miracle on Coogan's Bluff when he hit a pennant-winning three-run homer for the 1951 New York Giants with one out in the ninth inning of playoff Game 3 against the Dodgers. The trivia question is, who did he hit it off of? I told the answer in one of my previous autobiography because I showed Robbie Thompson's autograph that my dad got, and also the guy that gave up the home run is named Ralph Branca. So that's another trivia answer. Who gave up Robbie Thompson's the Giants win the pennant home run? It's Ralph Branca. Not sandpaper for sure. Unless you got like an itchy back or something. There is times, this sandpaper is nice, if you got an itch. But but the Giants had been 13 and a half games behind Brooklyn in July. So they were down by 13 games in July, which is really late in the season. And they came back to win the pennant. So that's a pretty cool comeback story. New York Met, number 20. Who is number 20 for the New York Mets back in the day? My fellow Alabamian, Tommy Lee. Not Tommy Lee. That's the guy from Motley Crue. But Tommy Lee Agee, born in Alabama, Magnolia, Alabama. He was the Rookie of the Year in 1966. Motley Claus. What was Motley chewing on? Motley Chew. But who was the Rookie of the Year in 1966? Tommy Agee. Tommy Lee Agee. A fleet fielder who could hit with power, Agee became a World Series hero when he homered and made two outstanding catches in Game 3 of the 1969 World Series for the New York Mets, the Miracle Mets. The 1966 American League Rookie of the Year was a two-time All-Star who won two Gold Gloves. Calvin's fur, yeah. I like uh I like some country singers. I like some country songs, and I like Tim McGraw. And this is Tim McGraw's dad, who pitched for the Mets, Tug McGraw. If you've ever heard the song "Live Like You Were Dying" by Tim McGraw, he's talking about his dad, Tug McGraw, in that song. Frank Edwin McGraw, born in Martinez, California. I've seen several people in this set that batted right and threw left. So there's a lot of, I keep talking about that. People mixed up. But Frank Edwin McGraw, or Tug McGraw, a hyperactive reliever who coined the "You Gotta Believe" rallying cry for the 1973 New York Mets. So if you've ever heard the 1973 Mets, "You Gotta Believe," Tug McGraw coined that. He was also a key contributor to World Championship teams in 1969 and 1980. He posted 5 saves in the NLCS and 3 more in the World Series. But I love that song by Tim McGraw, "Live Like You Were Dying." I went skydiving, I went Smoky Mountain climbing. I love the catcher cards. Elston Howard, Elston Gene Howard, born in St. Louis, Missouri. Most valuable player in 1963. 9-time All Star, 2-time Gold Glove winner, Howard was a catcher who spent part of his career trying to escape Yogi Berra's shadow. Jeff is not a Yankees fan. He finally did, thanks to a that produced for both power and average. A great team leader, Howard was most valuable player in 1963. Another Yankee for Jeff, Sparky Lyle. Also known as Albert Walter Lyle, born in Dubois, Dubois, I guess, Pennsylvania. Sounds French. But he was a Cy Young Award winner in 1977, Sparky Lyle. Hello to Stuke. Hope you're doing well. Happy Thursday. Thank you for stopping by. Still looking at those 1993 Ted Williams cards. Feel free to talk about anything about baseball you want to. I'm all ears. One of the American League's top closers for more than a decade, Lyle led the league in saves twice. And here's another trivia answer. Sparky Lyle was the first American League reliever to win a Cy Young Award. Most Cy Young Award winners have been starting pitchers, but Sparky Lyle was the first American League reliever to win a Cy Young Award. A lefty known for his sharp slider and quick quips. Say that 10 times. Say that 10 times real fast. Quick quips. Lyle was a 3-time All-Star with the Yankees. Here's a nice action shot. I love this shot. I'm not sure who number 1 is. I was thinking about that. I see the umpire. It's Billy Martin. Billy Martin's throwing the ball to first, trying to turn the double play. The umpire's calling him out, but I'm not sure who the number 1 there is. I know. Bobby Richardson's number 1 for the Yankees, but this ain't a Yankee because Billy Martin's throwing. Red Sox bolstered their starting pitching for the season, but they need some power in their lineup. Hey, the Astros are trying to trade y'all Isaac Paredes. He's got some pop. But I like that photo of Billy Martin. Alfred Manuel Martin battling Billy from Berkeley, California. Battling Billy from Berkeley. Say that 10 times real fast. I'm not sure who the Astros want to demand in return. I just know they've been talking. The two clubs have been talking about the trade for Paredes for a while. So you're saying Mikasa Sukasas? Mikasa Sukasas. Sean says Roman Anthony. But Billy Martin, a second baseman who got maximum mileage from. What is up with all these tongue twisters? They trying to get me here. A second baseman who got maximum mileage from minimal skills, Martin was a Casey Stengel favorite with the Yankees of the 1950s. He was World Series MVP in 1953 after getting 12 hits in 6 games against the Dodgers and knocking in the winning run in the finale. Roman Anthony equals untouchable. Here's another guy. Today I talked about how Dom DiMaggio should be in the Hall of Fame. I think so, even though he had a short career. But the reason he had a shortened career is because he was in the military. I mean, you can't hold that against him. But Thurman Munson ought to be in the Hall of Fame too. Thurman Lee Munson, born in Akron, Ohio. Rookie of the Year 1970, most valuable 1976. Catcher known for his powerful bat and leadership, Munson was a 7-time All-Star and 3-time Gold Glove winner. He was the American League Rookie of the Year 1970 and MVP 6 years later. His career ended prematurely when he died in a private plane crash in 1979. But it's always a bonus when you can have a catcher that bats over 300. A catcher that bats over 300 is it's awesome. Oh, hello to Clumps Cards. Hope you're doing well. Happy Thursday. Just showing some 1993 Ted Williams cards, talking baseball, whatever baseball you want to talk about. YouTube wants to know what your favorite texture is if you're interested in that. Or I can talk about, whatever y'all want to talk about. All right, here's one of my favorite Yankees. This is my favorite Yankee. What am I talking about? This is my favorite Yankee. I know Jeff is booing the Yankees. This guy right here is my favorite Yankee, Bobby Richardson. I had the pleasure of meeting Bobby, and just a really great guy, and was at a wild game supper. That's where I met him at, and he gave his testimony, which is really great. And he's been nice to sign through the mail autographs for me on a few different occasions. What team do I think will surprise people this year? Well, I always hope that answer is the Astros. um, that's a good question. I had to think about it. But Bobby Richardson is the only guy to ever win the World Series MVP on the losing team in the 1960 World Series when Bill Mazeroski hit the walk-off home run for the Pirates. Bobby Richardson was because they had already named the World Series MVP before the game was over. So probably if they would have let it played out, you know, perhaps Mazeroski would have won it. But since they voted early, and Richardson had an awesome World Series. But he's a really great guy, and I always I enjoy meeting him, and I enjoy interacting with him through the mail. I think maybe the Pirates. I think I talked about this on a one of my videos. How in the National League the Pirates have never won their division since they moved to the National League Central, and the Rockies have never won their division, and the Marlins have never won their division. So I'm hoping like one of the three can win their division this year in the National League, and maybe the Pirates this year will do that. Maybe that'll be my surprise pick, the Pirates in 2026. Sean. Yeah, the Marlins have won the World Series twice, but they've never won their division. They've always made it through being a wild card, which is proves. I mean, it's good that you can, even though you don't have to win your division to win the World Series, and they proved that twice. Hello to Todd Saw. Happy Thursday. But here's Robert Clinton Richardson, born in Sumter, South Carolina, made his major league debut August the 5th, 1955. But you can see he was born in 1935, so he's 90 years old, still signing autographs through the mail. But overshadowed by slugging teammates, that's what pretty much one of the reasons I also think Dom DiMaggio is not in the Hall of Fame is not only did his career was shortened because of he was in the military, took away from time to play baseball, but like he was overshadowed by his brother, and also he was a short guy, so he didn't get a lot of love to begin with because people can misjudge you based on your size or different reasons, but Bobby Richardson too, he not in the Hall of Fame, but he's worth consideration for sure, and he got lost in all them other Yankees, overshadowed by slugging teammates. Richardson was a key cog on 7 Yankee World Series teams, a second baseman who won 4 Gold Gloves and played in 7 All-Star games. Richardson was MVP of the 1960 World Series. Like I said, the only person to win the World Series MVP on the losing team. He was American League MVP runner-up 2 years later. Yeah, a lot of people talk about his brother Joe's hitting streak, 56 games in a row, which is awesome. But Dom has the Boston Red Sox hitting streak record. All these years later, nobody's broke that for the Red Sox, which I don't think nobody will break his brother's record. 56 is going to be hard to beat, but somebody for the Red Sox can possibly beat Dom's record, but it stood for a long time. But there's Bobby Richardson's first 5 best seasons. Here's Moose, another Yankee. The Moose. William Joseph Scrown, the Moose, born in Chicago, Illinois. Though he was a 5-time 300 hitter with power, the Moose was overshadowed by Yankee teammates Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra, and Whitey Ford. The 6-time All-Star first baseman was a hitting hero in the 1958 World Series, one of 8 in which he played. Another catcher, Mickey Cochran. I love baseball cards that show the catchers in their catcher's gear, especially the old cards. That's pretty cool. But he was born in Jeff's neck of the woods there, Bridgewater, Massachusetts. Gordon Stanley Cochran. Most valuable player, 1928 and 1934. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame, 1947. A fiercely competitive player who led by example, Cochran was one of baseball's best all-around catchers. A strong hitter, he led the Philadelphia Athletics to the World Series of 1929, 1930, and 1931, and was player-manager of the Tigers when that club won 2 pennants. So that's cool. I always think player managers are cool. $35 miles away, okay. Pretty close there. Another guy with a nickname and a cool mustache. I voted for this guy having the coolest mustache. Roland Glenn Fingers, Raleigh Fingers. Born in Steubenville, Ohio. Cy Young and MVP awards in 1981. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1992, one of the game's greatest closers. Fingers saved 341 games, then a record. I think Mariano Rivera holds the record now, but this was back in 1994. And was the second reliever enshrined in Cooperstown. He led his league in games and saves 3 times each. In 1981, he became the first reliever to win both MVP and Cy Young honors. So there's another trivia question. Who's the first reliever to win both the MVP and Cy Young award? Rollie Fingers. Yeah, I did know that, Todd. He told that. That's part of his testimony that he tells. And also, when you send him, like, ask him for an autograph through the mail, like give him a through the mail autograph request, most of the time he'll send you back a tract, a religious tract, a pamphlet, and it tells that as well on the tract that he sends. Yeah, I want to say it was in Texas whenever he led him to the Lord. I think it was in Houston if I remember right, but I could be wrong on that. I get a lot of stuff mixed up the older I get, but or it might have been in Dallas, somewhere in Texas, I want to say. And whenever I said the previous guy, Rolly Fingers, the guy with the nickname, I don't think he had a nickname, but I was I was looking at Raleigh and thinking Catfish, both of the A's, but this is Catfish Hunter. James Augustus Hunter, born in Hertford, North Carolina. Cy Young Award 1974, inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1987. Before arm trouble ended his career at 33. See, he made the Hall of Fame and his career was over at 33. That don't usually happen. Hunter won 224 games, Hall of Fame figures. He had 5 straight 20-win seasons, led the American League in wins twice, earned run average once, and pitched a perfect game. Hunter, who never pitched in the minors, won 9 postseason games. So he wasn't in the majors long, but when he was, he made the most of it. All those 20-win seasons there. Gotta love the manager cards. Connie Mack. It's easier to say Connie Mack than it is Cornelius Alexander McGillicuddy. I see why they call him Connie Mack now. But Cornelius, like the character on the cornflakes box, Cornelius is the rooster. And also Cornelius Bennett was the player for the Buffalo Bills that played at Alabama. Cornbread. But Cornelius Alexander McGillicuddy. And I think it was Clump, the last time we was talking about Cornelius, mentioned Cornelius from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Haven't forgot that, Clump, if you're still here. But Connie Mack made his major league debut on 9/11/1886. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame back in 1937. A journeyman catcher who see, I listen, Clump. Mental notes there. I forget a lot of my mental notes, but not all. I just proved it. A journeyman catcher who developed a reputation for shrewd analysis, Mack became part owner and manager of the Philadelphia Athletics in 1901. Oh, I didn't mention East Brookfield, Massachusetts. Good eye, Jeff. 55 miles away from Jeff. Part owner and manager of the Philadelphia Athletics in 1901, starting a run that lasted 50 years. Mack developed players that helped him win 9 pennants, but he twice had to sell stars to keep afloat in tough economic times. A strong, silent type who rarely appeared on the field, Mack disdained foul language and commanded complete respect from both his players and opponents. I like that. Managing in a suit long after other managers were required to wear team uniforms, Mack directed the action from the dugout by waving a scorecard. McGillicuddy rings a bell. Miss McGillicuddy was Lucy's mother on I Love Lucy. See, I never forgot that, but I Love Lucy. But he's in the Hall of Fame. Cornelius Alexander McGillicuddy. Even though he lost more games than he won, look at there. 3,731 wins, but 3,948 losses. Al Simmons. I like his nickname. Aloysius Harry Simmons, known as Bucketfoot. Bucketfoot. I've heard of Buckethead, but I don't know if I've heard of Bucketfoot before. But he was born and died in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Made his major league debut April 15th, 1924. Inducted into the Hall of Fame back in 1953. Okay, Aries World, I appreciate you stopping by. As long as you whistle while you lurk, that's all good. Whistle loud so we can hear you. But I hope you're doing well. Happy Thursday. But Bucketfoot, in his first 11 seasons, all but two with the Athletics, knocked in at least 100 runs. An outfielder known for his foot in the bucket batting stance. So there we have it. Why do they call him Bucketfoot? Y'all have to go back and look at his batting stance. He was known for his foot in the bucket batting stance. Simmons was a dangerous slugger who also won 2 batting crowns. He led the American League in hits twice and RBIs once. Hello to Nicholas Woodall. Happy Thursday. So Milwaukee's not so close, Jeff. No cheese for you. But old Bucketfoot has some awesome stats. 334 career hitter. Now we're moving on to a new team. Looks like the Philadelphia Phillies, and that looks like Dick Allen. Recent Hall of Fame inductee. But I like the name of the city he was born in, Wampum. Where were you born? Wampum, Pennsylvania. Rookie of the Year, 1964. Most Valuable Player, 1972. Though he was a moody, often controversial slugger during his 15-year career, Allen was a big-time run producer. As a Rookie of the Year and MVP, Dick led the league in runs and RBIs. He also won 2 home run crowns and led in slugging percentage 3 times. Yeah, I've heard wampum talk in Native American for sure. Nicholas has been to a lot of Angels games in Anaheim. That's cool, Nicholas. I've never been to a major league game, so that's cool. Super cool. Another Philadelphia Philly. Bob Boone. All right, if y'all listened to me earlier, all right, my favorite defensive play in baseball history. I love the Willie Mays catch. My fellow Alabamian Willie Mays over the shoulder catch is one of my favorite defensive plays of all time. But my absolute all time favorite play of all time defensively in baseball, Bob Boone was involved in the play. Hello to Janie Anna. Hope you're doing well. Happy Thursday. How was Bob Boone involved in my favorite defensive play of all time? Well, I told y'all I liked the Royals back in the day because of Bo Jackson being there back in the late 80s, early 90s. So that's why my first baseball cap was a Royals cap. Even though I'm an Astros fan, number one, I like the Royals because of Bo Jackson. But the Royals were playing the Seattle Mariners, and you'll have to look it up, YouTube it. But Bo Jackson threw out Harold Reynolds at home plate from the outfield wall. The catcher, Bob Boone, was the catcher, and he done walked away from the plate. The umpire done walked away from the plate. I don't know if he was going to cover third base or what, but he was away from home plate. I mean, there was nobody at home, and Bo fired it from the outfield, and Boone had to run in to catch it at home and tag out Harold Reynolds. I mean, it's an amazing play, and everybody was like, everybody was in shock. They didn't believe it happened. Nobody believed it happened except for Bo. He was like all laid back, and he believed in himself. He believed in his ability. He knew he could do it. But man, everybody else was like in shock. That's just my all-time favorite defensive play. But Bob Boone was the catcher there for the Royals when Bo made that play. Robert Raymond Boone. Brad Comments. I don't remember that play, I don't guess. I remember Brad Comments for the Braves. He was supposed to be, he was super hyped and he never panned out, but I don't remember him making a play, but I'll have to check that one out as well. And see, that's another reason I like when people talk in the chat. I'm always learning. I'm learning from you guys. But Robert Raymond Boone made his major league debut 9/10/72. The middleman in baseball's only three-generation family. Yeah, his father played Ray Boone. I remember that. I think my dad has his autograph. Bob Boone's father, Ray Boone, and then Bob Boone's sons, played and managed Brett Boone and Aaron Boone and I'm missing a Boone. But the middleman in baseball's only three-generation family, Boone was a catcher known for his durability and defensive skills. A six-time Gold Glove recipient, he was an All-Star four times. Boone hit .310 in 27 league championship games and .412 in 6 World Series games. Here's another Philly. I think this is Dale Ennis. I like when you can see like people in the stands in the background. Imagine that being you. You went to I guess this is Wrigley Field. But anyhow, imagine going to a baseball game like Nicholas was talking about. He went to the Angels games, and I know Sean goes to the Astros games. But imagine being at a game and then they took the picture of a player and you're in the background of a baseball card. How cool would that be? Well, there's a couple people in the background of this card. There's a lot of people, but two of them you can see real clear. And I'd be telling people, yeah, I was on a baseball card. They'd be like, what team did you play for? I was just in the stands. That's cool, Ayers. I appreciate that. Yeah, I love my clouds. Delmer Ennis, shortened to Dale Ennis, made his major league debut April 28, 1946. Dale Ennis, a native Philadelphian. You can see he was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I like that. I like when the person is born in a city and play for the same city. A native Philadelphian, spent most of his baseball career playing the outfield for his hometown Phillies. He led the National League with 126 RBIs in 1950 and also hit a career best 31 home runs that summer. In half of his 14 seasons, Ennis exceeded 100 RBIs. Yeah, anytime you get over 100 RBIs, that's a great season. And he done it several times. Yeah, that's cool, Nicholas. Thank y'all for sharing your baseball stories. I enjoy hearing other people's stories. Y'all like these Ted Williams cards? I like how they have two photos. You got the one up front in color, and then the one in the background in black and white. Uh, Charles Herbert Klein, born in Indianapolis, Indiana. Most valuable player of 1932, Triple Crown winner, which is awesome. When you can lead the league in batting average, home runs, and RBIs, you know you had a good season. He done that in 1933, and he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1980. An outfielder with 4 home run titles, Klein also won the 1933 Triple Crown, leading the league with a 368 average, 28 home runs, and 120 RBIs. 1 year earlier, he had the unique distinction of topping the National League in both home runs, 38, and stolen bases, 20. I remember this guy, Michael Jack Schmidt, number 20 for the Philadelphia Phillies. Another player born in Ohio. We're at Dayton, Ohio. Michael Jack Schmidt, Dayton, Ohio. Most valuable player 1980, 1981, and 1986. Schmidt holds the single season and career records for home runs by a third baseman. Hello to Pastor Ken's Curveballs, and hello to Alan, who is like number 14. I appreciate it. Aries World, at one Nebraska game, my brother and I were in the front row, and they put us on the big screen for quite some time. We were screaming like crazy. That's cool. The only time I can think of being on the big screen is me and my brother went to the Van Halen concert in Pensacola, Florida, and we had front row tickets. So we was sitting on the front row, like right in front of Eddie Van Halen, and it was like spring break, and they were recording it, and so me and him was in a video, which is weird because you really can't see me too good, but you can see my brother really clear. But we were sitting like side by side. But Schmidt holds the single season and career records for home runs by a third baseman. He led the National League in home runs 8 times and RBI 4 times while winning 10 Gold Gloves. He topped 30 homers 13 times in 14 years from 1974 to 1987, and once hit 4 home runs in a game. So he's another one of those that hit 4 home runs in a game. We talked about that. Nick Kurtz is the most recent for the A's against my Astros last year. But there's some numbers by Mike Schmidt. I guess I'm done with this. Your favorite texture question. Maybe they'll ask another one. But now we're on to the Pirates. We was talking about leg kicks. think it was Todd was talking about leg kicks last time. Here's Doc Ellis. Oh, here's a good question. I like this YouTube question. What is a common word you cannot spell? What word gives you the what word gives you the hardest time when it comes to spelling? But Doc Ellis, Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher. Say that 10 times real fast. Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher. But Doc Philip Ellis, born in Los Angeles, California, although he antagonized the baseball establishment with his political activism and flamboyant lifestyle, Ellis pacified his critics with his pitching. He hurled a no-hitter in 1970, made the All-Star team in 1971, and won playoff games in both leagues. Clump, are you jealous of Doc Ellis, or jealous is your common misspelled word? There and there, there and there. What about the other there? They apostrophe re. Your and your. Yeah, them. How about Chihuahua? Chihuahua can be a challenge, I think. That's just the first thing that came to my mind. I don't know if that's my answer, but first thing that came to my mind is Chihuahua. Yeah, my autocorrect can't spell at all. I want to invent an autocorrect for the autocorrect. Well, ketchup has multiple spellings, so you can spell it wrong and be right. Like catsup. I don't understand catsup for ketchup, but that's what the bottle says. All right, here's another guy that's a great through the mail autograph signer for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Oh, here we go, some catsup spam. Error, you misspelled catsup. Well, autocorrect, pretty much uses your vocabulary that you've already used in the past. Is some of the reason they'll mess things up because they'll assume that you said one word that you've said in your history and then bring it back up again when they think they know you, but they really don't. But yeah, Elroy Face is a great guy, man. Great through the mail signer. I've sent to him at least one time, maybe twice. Elroy, shout out to the Jetsons. Um, Meet George Jetson, his son Elroy. I love. Did y'all like the Jetsons? Anybody else like the Jetsons back in the day? But Elroy Leon Face, born in Steventown, New York. And you got the dog, the dog for the Jetsons Astro. I like that. What was the robot's name? The maid's name, Jeff. So you got the son, you got the daughter, you got the wife. What was the maid's name? Did somebody already say it? I don't think nobody said it. Rosie. Worcestershire is hard to say, much less spell. I got a joke about Worcestershire. My dad, that's one of the first jokes I remember my dad telling me was about Worcestershire. And I can't remember exactly how, that's one of those things you miss about when people pass away. You wish they could say it again, to refresh you, and you can't do that. But the joke, the something about the person says, "What's this here sauce?" But the way he said it, it made it Worcestershire sauce. Wash your sister's sauce. It probably is. Hey, you'll have to get him to retell it to you, Aries, and then you'll have to retell it next time. I can see where Aaron's misspelled, but I'm familiar with the Aaron in the Bible, and he spells it the same way. Um, Definitely a unique spelling, Ron. But Elroy Leon Face, born in Steventown, New York, made his major league debut April 16th, 1953. So he was, what is that? 47 plus 26 is 73. So 73 years, almost 73 years ago, he made his major league debut pitching, and he's still alive. That's crazy. He was born in 1928, so his birthday is coming up. I might need to send him a happy birthday card. A little over a week away from his birthday, he'll be 98. But y'all check that season out, 1959. All right, he made his debut in 1953, but 6 years later, in 1959, he's a relief pitcher. Get that? He's a relief pitcher, and in 1959, he went 18 wins and one loss as a relief pitcher. Little guy with a big forkball face was a fine relief pitcher, best remembered for his 18 and 1 record and 95% winning percentage in 1959. His 18 relief wins and 17 in a row are single season records. Face led the National League in saves 3 times and appearances twice. Reunited and it feels so good. Jeff got the warning. Uh oh. My battery's actually. This is not going to be one of those episodes where mine dies. If it does, I went a really long live stream, which is possible. You never know with me. It's random. All right, here's a guy that used to be the manager for the Astros, but here he is with the Pittsburgh Pirates, number 3, Scrap Iron. Another good mustache in baseball. I got him probably on my Rushmore of favorite mustaches in baseball. Phil Garner. Philip Mason Garner, Scrap Iron. Born in Jefferson City, Tennessee. We haven't been seeing too many people born in Tennessee. That's cool. Oh, that's an error, Jeff, if you don't have a charger where you're at. That's an error. I hate when that happens. But he made his major league debut on September the 10th, 1973. Gutty infielder who got maximum mileage from average ability. Garner was a 3-time All Star who played second and third for 5 big league teams. His 500 average helped the Pirates win the 1979 World Championship. He later became a coach and manager. Like I said, he managed the Astros. And he played with the Astros, as you can see, in 1982. All right, I've already mentioned this guy. Bobby Richardson won the 1960 World Series MVP because they had already voted before the game was over. The 1960 World Series, Pirates versus Yankees. Bill Mazeroski, who was number 9. Check this out. He's Bill Mazeroski's number 9. The score is tied 9-9 in the ninth inning of the 1960 World Series, and Bill Mazeroski hits a walk-off home run. And he didn't win the World Series MVP because, like I said, they had already voted. But he's also a great through the mail autograph signer. He charges $10 though, but it's worth it. But he was born in Wheeling. Maz was born in Wheeling, West Virginia. Say that 10 times real fast. Wheeling, West Virginia. Made his major league debut 7/7/1956 during a 17-year career spent entirely with Pittsburgh. I talk about that from time to time, how that's my favorite when somebody stays with one team their whole career. I wish everybody do that. Um, and it don't hardly ever happen anymore. That's what I liked about Biggio and Bagwell. They were teammates and they spent their whole career with the Astros. Maz spent his whole career with the Pirates. He made the All-Star team 7 times and won 8 Gold Gloves. He still holds many second base defensive records, but is most remembered for winning the 1960 World Series with a ninth inning home run in Game 7. Like I said, it was 9-9 in the ninth, and number 9 hit the walk-off home run. Gotta love this guy's nickname, Harold Joseph Trainer. I like that he was born on 11/11, but he was born in Framingham, Massachusetts. Jeff is probably pretty close to Framingham, Massachusetts. Maybe Jeff can go to the Framingham, Massachusetts Walmart and get him a charger. uh, Jeff has probably already signed off. Jeff has left the building, but if you're still there, Jeff, have you ever heard of Framingham, Massachusetts? But this guy's nickname was Pie Trainer. 1 hour away. We're getting a little further away now. 1 hour away. Yeah, don't drive an hour just to go to Walmart. But he was a brilliant defensive third baseman who reached double digits in home runs only once. Imagine that, somebody that made the Hall of Fame and he only hit double digits in home runs once. That sounds about like Ozzie Smith. Trainer produced 700 RBI seasons because of his ability to make contact and hit in the clutch. As a member of the 1929 Pirates, he struck out just 7 times in 540 at bats. That's amazing. There's people that strike out 7 times in 2 games. He only struck out 7 times in 540 at bats. You talking about contact hitter? I'm not sure why they called him Pie, but I'm sure there's a story there. But a cool nickname, Pie Trainer. There's a familiar face. Probably has the most known baseball card of all time. Honus Wagner, John Peter Wagner. I don't know where he got the name Honus from, if his name is John Peter. But the Flying Dutchman, born in Mansfield, Pennsylvania. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1936. Considered baseball's greatest player by many, Honus Wagner won 8 batting titles and led the National League in steals 6 times. John McGraw once said of him, Wagner was the greatest shortstop in baseball history, but he could have been the best player at any position. Pretty high words there. But a lot of people didn't hit home runs back then. You can see he hit 5 home runs, 4 home runs, 2 home runs, 6 home runs, 10 home runs during his 5 best seasons. 3,415 not home runs. That'd be a lot of home runs. Career hits, 3,415, a lot of hits. Here's a Cardinals player from back in the. I love the old gloves. I love them old baseball gloves. But here's a Cardinal. Looks like it says Dizzy Dean. I think that's right. J. Hannah Dean. Not kin to Paula Dean. I don't know. He may be kin to Paula Dean for all I know, but I guess if this card mentions butter, we'll say he's kin to Paula Dean. Hello to Casper Nelson. Happy Thursday. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for stopping by. Just showing some old baseball cards from the 90s. The footage of Honus here on YouTube blew my mind. I don't guess I've ever seen it. I have some pens nearby. I need to write down some of these things y'all say for future references, but Dizzy Dean. I almost said I like his sausages, but that was Jimmy Dean. But he was the most valuable player in 1934. He was inducted into Hall of Fame in 1953. He was the leader of the Gas House Gang. During his first 5 years, Dean averaged 24 wins and won 4 straight strikeout crowns. No National League pitcher has won 30 since Dean in 1934, so that's pretty amazing. I know we talked about on a previous card that Denny McLain had won 30 for the American League, but this is National League. 3 years later, however, he hurt his arm while favoring a toe fractured by a line drive. So that's interesting. He hurt his arm while favoring his toe. A great pitcher. He was a coach at the time, but still crazy because there's audio too. Yeah, that is cool. The question at the top says a common word you can't spell. How about Scheindienst? There's one that's kind of hard to spell and even hard to say for me. Albert Fred Scheindienst. Nickname Red, which is easy to say. My favorite color, red. I got a Topps Heritage card of his. It says Red Scheindienst on it, unless I got it mixed up backwards, but it's actually got a picture of Whitey Herzog. It's an error. But Scheindienst was inducted into the Hall of Fame back in 1989. He was a key man in the pennant winning seasons of the 1946 Cardinals and 1957-58 Braves. His roommate Stan Musial once said he had the greatest pair of hands I have ever seen. Though not a home run hitter, Red did connect in the 14th inning to win the 1950 All-Star game. All-Star games don't go into extra innings anymore. So that's a cool mention there. Randy Jones, who I believe passed away last year, if I remember right. Great pitcher, Randall Leo Jones. Cy Young Award winner 1976, control pitcher who did not throw hard. Jones was the first National League pitcher of the post-war era to win 20 without fanning 100 batters. That's pretty amazing. Most of the time when people get 20 or more wins, they're the strikeout type pitcher. But he won 20 without fanning 100. The two-time All-Star had the National League's best earned run average in 1975 and won the Cy Young Award a year later. He once pitched 3 straight shutouts, which that's pretty awesome too. 3 straight shutouts. Another Padre. looks like it says Nate Oliver. I've got the power. Jeff has got the power. It's getting kind of hectic. Nathan Colbert made his major league debut April 14th, 1966. Fastball hitter, great power. Colbert clobbered National League pitching while playing for a weak Padres team. In 1972, he hit more than a third of the team's home runs, 5 of them in a single day. A fine fielding first baseman. There goes another tongue twister. Fine fielding first baseman. Colbert was a 3-time All-Star. Nate Colbert. On to the Texas Rangers. This guy's son played in the majors too, I remember. Sean Burroughs, but this is his dad, Jeff Burroughs, Jeffrey Allen Burroughs. Kelly heard that. Hello, happy Thursday. She says, yay, Texas. Yay spelled backwards is yay. But I hope you're doing well. Just showing some 1990s baseball cards. Do you like the Texas Rangers, Kelly? I'm an Astros fan. I mean, I like the Rangers. I just like the Astros better. But Jeff Burroughs was born in Long Beach, California. Jeff says that Sean Burroughs played in the Little League World Series. That's cool. Yeah, it's always cool when like you see the Little League players and then they go on to be in the major leagues. But Jeff Burroughs was baseball's top amateur draft pick in 1969 when he joined the Washington Senators as a teenage outfielder. He hit 30 home runs in 1973 after the club moved to Texas. So the Washington Senators moved the uh, to become the Texas Rangers. He was MVP a year later when his 118 RBIs led the American League. He had 41 home runs for the Braves in 1977. Jeff Burroughs. Got another Ranger. This guy has a similar name to Ryan Sandberg, but his name is Jim Sundberg. James Howard Sundberg, born in Galesburg, Illinois. A rifle armed receiver known for strong defense and unusual durability, Sundberg won. When I first read that, it was talking about receiver. I was like, what, why are they talking about football? This is baseball. But it's talking about a catcher. A rifle armed receiver known for strong defense and unusual durability, Sundberg won 6 Gold Gloves and made the All Star team 3 times. He led American League catchers in fielding 7 times and putouts and assists 6 times each. Sundberg was also a capable hitter. Jim Sundberg. How do you know it's not the same rabbit? Maybe he took up residence in your yard. That's cool when you had a rabbit in your yard. Um, let's see. This looks like Frank Howard for the Washington Senators. And Frank Oliver Howard, Hondo is his nickname. Born in Columbus, Ohio. He was the Rookie of the Year in 1960. See if Calvin a tree him, like them hunting dogs do, I don't think rabbits climb trees. What am I talking about? I'm kind of delirious. Um, but Hondo was a gentle giant whose strong swing contradicted his soft-spoken persona. Howard won 2 home run crowns and an RBI title while playing for the second edition Washington Senators. The four-time All-Star once hit a record 10 home runs in 6 games. That's pretty impressive. 10 home runs in 6 games is crazy. But you can see those 3 seasons he hit over 40, 44, 48, and 44. 1968, 69, 1970. This guy usually gets mentioned in the same breath as Nolan Ryan a lot of times. Walter Perry Johnson, or Walter Johnson, known as the Big Train. Nicholas says, "Do you have any upper deck baseball cards?" I do. Um, I miss upper deck. They're pretty much. They probably were my favorite. Well, I guess Tops is my favorite because of the history, but I really liked upper deck a lot, and was sad that they're no more. But I talk about this from time to time. Back in 1989, when Upper Deck came out, I never seen a pack of 1989 Upper Deck, so I've never opened a pack of 1989 Upper Deck. But we first started getting them in 1990. I remember opening 1990 Upper Deck, their second season. But yeah, they I love their holograms, and I never got. Well, obviously, I never got it because I never opened a pack. But the '89 King Griffey Jr. rookie card is neat. I like, they were. I guess the thing I don't like about them. All right, I'm old school, so I like non glossy cards. And Upper Deck was the first. I think they were the first to do the gloss on the baseball cards, and pretty much ever since then. I mean, with it, rare occasions people don't put gloss on it, but for the most part, most products have gloss now. And Upper Deck, started off, and I don't like that. I mean, it's neat. The little shine's neat. It's glossy's neat. Like these cards are glossy. You can see the gloss on them, but they're horrible for autographs. Um, I mean, I know people like can do certain things to them to treat them to make the autograph stay on there, but I just like the cardboard and the ink like settling into the cardboard. That's me, and that ain't the only reason I like the non, you know, gloss, but Upper Deck definitely started the glossy trend back in 1989, and the holograms and a lot of other things. Um, yeah, Allen Ginter still they still do the old school like Topps Heritage, and there's still others that don't, but for the most part, most everybody does. But Walter Perry Johnson, the Big Train, inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1936, a charter member of the Hall of Fame, Johnson won 417 games. See, if you win 300 games now, you're automatic Hall of Fame. He won over 400. 417, second on the all-time list, and pitched a record 110 shutouts. That's crazy. You know that won't be broke. 110 shutouts by one pitcher. Hello to Sock. He had a dozen 20 win years. A dozen. Most people don't even have one 20 win seasons. He had a dozen. And once pitched 56 consecutive scoreless frames. So he had that record for a while. I think uh, I think Oral Hershiser still has the consecutive innings streak record. Whenever you send me one, Jeff, I'll be glad to show it. uh, Whenever somebody sends me a Honus Wagner signed card, I'll be glad to show it to all of you. Matter of fact, I don't know what I show it. It'd be like a 24-hour live stream and nothing but Honus Wagner autograph card. That would be insane. But it was fun back in the day to watch all the different people that would buy the Honus Wagner T206. Like at one time, Wayne Gretzky had it, you know, and he would sell it to somebody else, and different people would own that card. I do have the reprint of that card. I have the reprint of the T206 Honus Wagner. I'll have to show that sometime. Um, but the big train had a dozen 21 years and once pitched 56 consecutive scoreless frames. A flamethrower with control. He had a fine 2.17 career earned run average. 2.17. That's very low career number. When you give up two runs a game, you should win 99% of the time. Maybe that's a little high, but 90 something percent of the time. Yeah, very microscopic. Edward Frederick Joseph Yost. Do any of y'all have like four names? Or that seemed I think that seemed to be more of a common thing back in the day. People had four names instead of three. I'm sure they're still out there, but I've never I don't guess I've ever known anybody. But he was Edward Frederick Joseph Yost, the walking man, born in Brooklyn, New York. Blessed with an exceptional batting eye, Yost led the American League in walks six times and drew at least 108 different seasons. No, it's not the same as Ned Yost. This is Eddie Yost. Different time. Ned Yost was like I'm trying to remember the exact. Ned Yost is like in the 70s and 80s, I think. College friend name is Thomas Thomas. That's cool. That's cool if you have the same first and last name. I mean, nobody's gonna mess up your name if they call. Some people, you know, call you by your last name. Some people call you by your first, but that's got it all covered. Hello, Miss Daisy May. Happy Thursday. Yeah, that sounds right, Jeff. Daisy May worked with a guy whose name was Andrew Andrews. Pete Peters, yeah. What about Barry Berry? I know a guy named Barry Berry. Um, Speaking of Barry Berry, there's a Terry Terry. Terry Terry? Blessed with an exceptional batting eye, Yost led the American League in walks six times, drew at least 108 different seasons. A fine fielder, he also led third baseman in putouts a record eight times. A durable performer, he once played in 838 straight games. And if y'all know me, what's the significance of 838? I can't get it to focus. 838 spelled backwards is 838. There's a new video game called Berry Berry Berry. I'm not up to date on my video games. I haven't played video games in a long time, but hello to Yoda. Happy Thursday. Good to see you. He says that the Teddy Williams set is one of his favorite sets. That's cool. You talking about this set, or you talking about the set he had back in the day of the Fleer set? I'd love to own that set. I think my dad had one of those cards. It shows him like when he was in the military, Ted Williams. some bunch of cool cards in the Ted Williams set. That Teddy Williams set. This set, okay. 59 Fleer, yeah. Yeah, the 1963 Fleer is one of my favorite all time sets. My favorite all time set is 1965 Tops. Is my favorite top set. I don't have a lot of 1965 Tops cards, but the set I just love looking like when people show 1965 Tops, the little flag, and that's just my favorite. And then the 1963 Fleer, the 2 years before that, Fleer put out. Most people think Fleer started in 1981, but back in 1963 they had a cool set. I've got a few of those cards autographed. Who do I have autographed from 1963 Fleer? Al Spangler, Al Spanky Spangler for the Houston Colt 45s. And who else? I can't think right now. Yeah, those vintage Fleer. I only have, like I said, a handful, but here's a checklist. Every some people complain about checklists, but used to that would be the fun thing to do. Which these don't have check marks on this one. This is later on, but it ruined the cards when kids would check the box that they had the card. But that was neat. That gives it. I think it's even to me it's worth more like that when some kid took the time to check it off and say, hey, he had this card and that card and the other. But I know it takes away from the value because people don't want pin marks on cards, but it just makes it to me nostalgic. But here's the checklist. Some of the checklist. Here's the next checklist. So they got two checklists, and now we're to the women. Y'all didn't expect to see women cards, did you? No, this is another thing I like about this Ted Williams set. So they do the old, but they also do the women league players. They also do the black league players. They show like some up and coming rookie. I mean, they like covered a lot of different things in just this one set, which is really cool. I like that. Maybe you've never heard about these, but here's Snooky. What a name, Snooky Doyle. I know Aries World's Daughters plays ball, so shout out to the female ball players. Snooky Doyle, born in Los Angeles, California, back on. Oh, she just celebrated a birthday. Uh, I don't think she's still with us. I could be wrong, but she was born on February the 4th, 1924. So if she's still around, she'd be 100 and what, 2 years old. But she was a fine fielding shortstop, also known for her clutch hitting. Snooky led the Rockford Peaches in RBIs 3 straight years from 1948 to 1950, a five-time All-Star in the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. She led the Peaches to 4 pennants. Snooky Doyle. And I watch some people videos, and they're very knowledgeable on the women, the women league from back in the day. They can tell you stuff I never really read enough to tell you that much about them. And it ain't that I don't appreciate them. I guess I've never focused in enough. Maybe I need to do that this year. But I definitely enjoy seeing the women of baseball. Maddie English making a great catch. Look at there. Yeah, treats after the game is definitely a bonus. If you can muster it, if you can make it through the 9 innings, you get some treats afterwards. That's incentive. It works for me. That's cool. I like watching Auburn softball when Auburn's women's play softball. Maddie English was born in Everett, Massachusetts. Somewhere in Jeff's neck of the wood, Everett, Massachusetts. Maddie spent her entire 8 year career as a pro playing third base for the Racine Bells. I probably mispronounced that. Racine Bells. She gave the team great speed and defense at the position, where she was known for her strong arm and aggressive style of play. Maddie was a two-time AAGPBL All-Star. If y'all ever ask what does the fox say, here's a fox. Nikki Fox. She's a pitcher, I can tell by the picture. There's another interchangeable word maybe we misspell. It's pitcher and pitcher. But a picture of the pitcher name is Nikki Fox. What does the fox say? Let's see what they say about the fox. Nikki Fox, born in Alberta, Canada. Shout out to my Canadian friends. I guess that's why I did say Canada, because I was thinking Canadian and my Canadian friends. Y'all ever do that? I know Troy done that in the live stream today. He was reading somebody's chat and then he said it while he was reading it or something like that. I do that stuff all the time, and I just done it. Nikki Fox from Alberta, Canada, an original draftee of the All American Girls Professional Baseball League. She was the league's best pitcher in both 1943 and 1944 while with the Kenosha Comets. Her unique wrist ball, a rarely seen delivery, had considerable velocity. What does the fox say? Ring ding ding ding. Dinger ring a ding a ring ding 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 dinger. Ing a ding a ring ding ding ding. Ding a ring a ding. Hey, who says I don't read the chat? Shame on you for saying I don't read the chat. I just read a bunch of ring a ding ding, ring a ding dings. Yeah, I could be a better. I confess I could be a better chat reader, but I'm working on it. Y'all just Aries will just help me prove I'm working on it with the ring a ding dings. Just don't try to say that fast, or you're gonna get hurt, or maybe say something you shouldn't say. But here's Sophie uh, Curries, maybe Curries. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, Sophie. I'm just gonna call her Sophie. But Sophie is from Flint, Michigan, and during her career in the American League, during her career in the yeah, I am curious about that too, Clump. When I read it, I was like, I'll have to look. That's another thing I'll have to, all this is getting me wanting to look up different things and wrist ball. But Sophie, during her career in the All American Girls Professional Baseball League, Sophie swapped 1,114 bases. So she's a Ricky Henderson of the females. 201 and 203 tries in 1946 alone. Wow. She only got through out two times the whole season. The league actually changed its rules. That's when you know you've done something. When they change the rules because of you, you've done something. So the league actually changed its rules in an attempt to slow her down. Sophie could hit too. She was the home run queen in 1950 with 7 home runs. Aries Royal says my dad has an extra large softball from Chicago back in the day. They had leagues where they didn't use a glove. That's cool. Hello to Kelly Belly. I love me some rhymes, so cool that your name rhymes. But Kelly Belly says, hey, how are you? Well, hey to you, Kelly, and I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, and I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a great Thursday. Appreciate you stopping by. Nice to meet you. Just showing some baseball cards from the 1990s. Even in the early 1900s, if you live in Flint, you better be able. If you live in Flint, see, I'm combining Flint and Run, and I said Flint. I do that stuff all the time. Maybe I need to slow down with my talking and enunciate. Even in the early 1900s, if you live in Flint, you better be able to run. um, Alma, shout out to Alma Ziegler. Ziegler, I don't know if there's a relation. I don't know if there's a relation, but Ziegler is one of my favorite hot dogs. But yeah, I just it just hurt my heart when I seen Alma because I miss her. Um, Alma Ziegler, the hitless wonder, born in Chicago, Illinois. Areas where we're just talking about Chicago. She was born in Chicago. The longtime captain of the Grand Rapids Chicks. Ziegler was a spark plug second baseman. Shouldn't it be second basewoman? Second baseman, known for her hard slides and aggressive play, a two-time All-Star. She was a GPBL Player of the Year in 1950, when she also had a 19-7 pitching record and a 1.36 earned run average. So there's the checklist for the women's baseball. So it's a small subset. It's only what, 7 cards, but I think it's super cool that they included the women in the set. And now they also included players from the Negro leagues. Newton Allen, people that you don't hear as much of, the women and um, people from the black leagues, but they're just as important. So I enjoy, sharing the history, learning of the history, and sharing the history. Um, Newton Henry Allen, Newt, born in Austin, Texas. Shout out to all the Texanians, Texans. Um, Man, she's got a lot of biography on hers. I guess because there's no stats. At second base, Allen's steady defense, clutch bat, and daring base running solidified the Monarchs. Did I say she? I thought, yeah, I think I did. Well, I had to do the replay. If I said she, I'm sorry. I done moved on to a new category. But at second base, Allen's steady defense, clutch bat, and daring base running solidified the Monarchs. That's the Kansas City Monarchs. I remember that team, who won 4 pennants in his first 6 seasons at Kansas City. He ripped Hilldale pitching for 7 doubles in the 1924 World Series, then returned to bat 370, 10 for 27 in the 1925 League Championship versus St. Louis. Allen ran wild at the 1934 Denver Post Tournament, stealing 6 bases in as many games. He loved to play inside the friendly confinements of, oh, here's another one, Mulabach. Mulabach rhymes with sock, who said great cards buried. Thank you, sock. But Mulabach rhymes with sock, and I'm probably mispronouncing that one as well. But Mulabach Field, um, where in league games he batted 304 with 38 doubles, 26 triples, 230 runs, and 63 stolen bases from 1923 to 1930. Up next, we have Willard Brown. I love like I said, the colored cards up front and then the black and white card. I mean, the photograph in the background. But here's one of Willard Brown. Players will be forgotten if you don't mention them, you don't bring them up. So the importance to me of history and talking about it, that you don't forget. And here's one, Willard Brown, nicknamed Sonny Brown. But he was born in Shreveport, Louisiana. Y'all's neighbors to the east, my neighbor to the west. As one of baseball's most prolific power hitters, Sonny Brown's tremendous home run shots were not limited to just Negro baseball. From 1935 to 1950, He slugged over 500 home runs for the Kansas City Monarchs. After integration, he hit another 95 home runs in the minors, 101 in the Puerto Rico, and the first ever by a black American in the majors. There's you some more trivia answers. First ever by a black American in the majors on August 13th, 1947, Sonny Brown. Brown also won the Puerto Rican League Triple Crown in 1948 and hit a record 27 home runs. In 1947, he became the fourth player selected from the Negro Leagues to appear in the major leagues. So hopefully you learned something about Sonny Brown. I don't know if he was related, but here's Larry Brown. I remember the basketball coach Larry Brown, but this is a different Larry Brown. But y'all know I like my fellow Alabamians. Larry Brown was born in Pratt City, Alabama. Pratt City, Alabama. I'm not really familiar with Pratt City, Alabama. I'll have to look that. That's another thing to add to my list of things to look up. Pratt City, Alabama. During the winter of 1929 and 1930, Brown batted .280 for Almendares of the Cuban Winter League. However, hitting was not his specialty. Recognized as a tremendous defensive catcher, Brown, year in and year out, was the best receiver in baseball. Blessed with a great glove and a deadly accurate throwing arm, he was at his best when handling the slants of fastball pitchers. Brown began professional play with Birmingham. I know where that is, in 1919, and I'm guessing that's Alabama and not England, but 1919, and remained in Negro baseball circles well into the 1950s. He was a member of the Chicago American Giants Negro National League champions of 1927. Here's John Donaldson. I remember Josh Donaldson. He played at Auburn, played in the major leagues for the Blue Jays and several other teams, the A's, several teams. Clumps is my favorite Alabama pieces in my collection of the Alabama game, Allison Brothers stuff. Oh, I love, yeah. I got Donnie Allison's autograph. Uh, I want to say my dad got Davey Allison's autograph. I could be wrong on that, but I think he did before he passed. And Bobby just recently passed. I got his autograph. But John Donaldson played for Bertha, whoever Bertha is. I'm not familiar with Bertha. But John W. Donaldson was born in Glasgow, MO, Missouri. In his prime, Donaldson, known as the greatest left-handed pitcher in baseball, established no-hit and strikeout totals, which seemed a physical impossibility. In both 1914 and 1915, he struck out a staggering 500 men for the All Nations. In 1914, Donaldson no-hit Austin, Minnesota, then returned in May of 1915 to hurl 2 no-hit games in the same month. Y'all know I like my no-hit stories, so I had to try to remember John Donaldson. After short stays with the Brooklyn Royals, Detroit Stars, and Kansas City Monarchs, Donaldson surfaced in Bertha. Okay, Bertha's in Minnesota, where in 1924 he recorded 330 strikeouts with 19 walks. That's a great strikeout to walk ratio. In July of 1925, he pitched a no-hit perfect game at Moose Jaw, Canada. Donaldson's 27-year career stretched from 1911 to 1939. I'll try to remember him, John Donaldson. I've heard of this guy, Rube Foster. Another guy born in Texas. And Andrew Foster, known as Rube, born in Calvert, Texas. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1980. Foster wore many bats. No, he wore many hats in a career which read like a work of fiction and played 6 seasons before graduating to the Cuban X Giants in 1903. That fall, he paralyzed the Philadelphia Giants in the World Series with 4 wins. Jumping to rival Philadelphia in 1904, Foster led them to a world title. The spring of 1907 found Foster in Cuba with a circuit-leading 9 wins. As player-manager of the Chicago Lions in the summer of 1907, his 23 wins and 4 loss record includes a no-hit victory. There's me another one. Over South Chicago. Foster inaugurated his famous American Giants in 1911 and was unanimously selected first president of the Negro National League in 1920. Another trivia answer. Who was the first president of the Negro National League? Rube Foster, 1920. He remained active with team and league affairs until the weight of his duties broke his health in 1926. So I've heard a lot about Rube Foster. Up next is Bud Fowler. So we're going to maybe hear something about the Page Fence Giants. Haven't heard of them. Page Fence Giants. Hello to Tuesdays with Joy. I hope you're having a great Thursday. And I've never asked you, why is your name called Tuesdays with Joy? That to me sounds like a radio program or a television program. Is it something to do with that? Do you host like some kind of program? What's the story of Tuesdays with Joy? Inquiring mind wants to know. But I hope you're having a great Thursday. I appreciate you listening. There is a story. Okay. Do tell if you want to, and don't tell if you don't. But I appreciate you being here, Joy. But John W. Fowler was born in Fort Plain, New York. We have a Fort Payne, Alabama, so don't confuse Fort Payne, Alabama with Fort Plain, New York. But John W. Jackson, known in baseball circles as Bud Fowler, carved his niche in sports history with the International Association as the minor league's first Negro player in 1878. Another trivia question. Originally a pitcher, he mastered every position and eventually converted into one of baseball's finest second basemen. Hadley is trying on her dance costumes. Cool. And what kind of dancing? When I mean I'm ignorant on the dancing, but is she like like the ballerina type dancing, like on her toes type stuff, or? But Bud Fowler was originally a pitcher. He mastered every position and eventually converted into one of baseball's finest second basemen. With Topeka in 1886, Fowler composed a 330 average, 20 doubles, 16 triples, and 4 home runs in 71 games. In 1895, he helped organize and played with the famous Page Fence Giants. Here we go. Here was what I was wanting to know about the Page Fence Giants of Adrian. Yo, Adrian! Adrian's in Michigan. So the Page Fence Giants of Adrian, Michigan. Despite his status and elite performances in 13 different minor leagues between 1878 and 1895, Fowler was denied big league stardom. A loving tribute to your grandma. That's super cool. I'm all about the family, as a lot of people are that I come across. So that's cool to hear, Joy. And Sean just subbed to Joy, so that's cool. Joy has always been super nice when she's came to my channel and when I've seen her in other channels. All kinds of dance, some of the toes, some hip hop, jazz, lyrical, contemporary. Okay, a good variety. That's cool. Vic Harris. I have heard of Baltimore. Let's find out about Vic Harris. Elander Victor Harris, born in Pensacola, Florida. I've been there a lot of times, Pensacola, Florida, in the panhandle of Florida. In August of 1931, Harris collected 52 hits in a single month, prompting the Pittsburgh Courier to proclaim him as probably the greatest ball player of the season. Signed out of Pittsburgh's Skinley High by the Cleveland Tate Stars in 1923, Harris blossomed before returning to Pittsburgh in 1925, where his timely hitting and stellar defense helped establish the Homestead Grays as one of baseball's preeminent teams. All right, Sean, good night. I appreciate you stopping by. Hope you get a lot of rest, get refreshed, and have a great Friday. Appreciate you as a teacher. Teacher's underrated. But shout out to all the teachers out there. Keep up the good work. Six dances. Dancing is definitely not my specialty. The only kind of dance I can decently do is the moonwalk. But I admire people that can dance. In 1935, Harris was selected player manager of the Grays, who, under his guidance, won 6 consecutive league titles and 2 world championships. In 1949, he coached there's the team, Baltimore Elites, and served as manager of the Birmingham Black Barons. That's my fellow Alabamian team. I'm not a team, so I can't call it my fellow Alabamian team, but a team here in Alabama, the Birmingham Black Barons in 1950. So I like that connection there. He was born just to the south of me, and he managed just to the north of me. That's cool. Webster. Y'all remember Webster from man, I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. I just talked about this not that long ago. Webster, Emmanuel Lewis, because I was talking George Papadopoulos, Snuffleupagus. Y'all help me out. Webster. What show was Webster on? I'm drawing a blank. Man, I need some sleep. No, it was called Webster. Duh. Yeah, Alex Kirris, the dad. Why was I talking about it? Now I'm drawing a blank on why I was talking about Alex Kirris and Webster. I need some sleep. Yeah, Webster. I enjoy watching Webster back in the day. Ma'am. He said, ma'am, George, ma'am. Webster McDonald from Little Falls. Where's Little Falls? There's pretty much probably a Little Falls in every state. You know, there's all the states that have waterfalls. Probably some of them call them Little Falls. So we'll see where this Little Falls is. Steve Urkel. Did I do that? I got a football card of Alex. Yeah, it's probably from my dad's collection. I just can't remember why I was talking about it. But Webster McDonald was born in Wilmington, Delaware. McDonald's deceptive underarm. Oh, delivery. I had to read the rest of the story there because it just said he had a deceptive underarm. I've never been accused of having a deceptive underarm. I've been accused of maybe having a smelly underarm from time to time. How did we get on the underarm? Oh yeah, I know how I got on the underarm conversation. I'm delirious and I'm reading about underarms. I can't read now with a straight face after I read about the underarm. If I had if I could queue up a commercial, I'd like queue up like a deodorant commercial and let y'all watch it just while I like regather and regroup myself, try to get the straight face back. McDonald's deceptive underarm delivery frustrated big leaguers and semi pros alike, earning him a solid reputation which lasted for more than 20 years. Between 1928 and 1931, he recorded 70 wins, 9 losses, and 15 shutouts as Little Falls, where? Minnesota, which included a victory over the Minneapolis Millers of the American Association. McDonald managed the Philadelphia Stars to the Negro National League pennant in 1934. On October the 16th, 1934, he defeated Dizzy Dean's All-Stars with a brilliant three-hit shutout before 8,000 at Philadelphia's Shibe Park. So it was fun learning about Webster McDonald's underarm delivery. Now I got to turn back to the front and see if it shows his underarm. Yep. Yoda has licked a deodorant speed stick. I don't think I would tell anybody, Yoda, if I was. Did you lose a bed or something? Or man, that's got to be rough. Tuesdays with Joy is really great about dropping links. That's another reason I enjoy seeing her in the chat. I appreciate you, Joy. Thank you. I appreciate all of y'all. Enjoy conversing with y'all. It's super fun. Enjoy the fellowship. Um, Here's John O'Neill looking serious about something. He must be managing the game. Wonder if he's any kin to Shaq O'Neal. But John O'Neill, yeah, that's an understatement, Joy. I definitely appreciate each and every one of y'all. It sure beats talking to yourself. And I definitely enjoy y'all's company. But he was born in Carabel, Florida. I'm not sure where that's at. Buck O'Neill holds the distinction of being named the Major League's first black coach. So there's you another trivia question. Who was the Major League's first black coach? John Buck O'Neill. Hello to my fellow Aryan. We have Aries World. We have Gary. We have Barry. So all my Aryans. Shout out to all my Aryans out there. But hello to Gary from the YouTube Police. Appreciate you stopping by. Just looking at some cards from the 1990s, baseball cards, and I love this Ted Williams set. It covers a lot of different things, and to me, I find it to be very educational. I'm all for the educational. So John Buck O'Neill holds the distinction of being named the Major League's first black coach, a feat he achieved in 1962 with the Chicago Cubs. Today, with more than 50 years of experience, he continues to enrich baseball by his very presence. This was written, like I said, in the 90s. So O'Neill came into prominence as a steady first baseman with the Kansas City Monarchs, helping them to Negro League pennants in 1938, 1941, 1946, and a world championship in 1942. Gary says he used to collect cards in the 1990s. Why did you stop, Gary? Inquiring mind wants to know. But it's cool that you shared them with somebody else that started a card shop. That's neat. I wish I see videos of people that have a local card shop all the time, and they shorten it down to LCS. You know, my local card shop, my LCS. But I don't have one of those. So we used to have one, but the guy passed away, so we don't have any in my area. But local card shop is a good thing to have. You had 100,000. Wow. Um, O'Neal came into prominence as a steady first baseman with the Kansas City Monarchs, helping them to Negro League pennants in 38, 41, 46, and a world championship in 1942. Selected player manager of the 1948 Monarchs, O'Neal led his club to the 1953 Negro American League pennant. Following the 1955 season, he was hired to scout players for the Cubs. Up next is Ted Radcliffe. Ted Radcliffe. Do y'all know anybody that kind of holds their hands behind their back a lot? Because when I seen that, I thought of somebody. I mean, we probably all do it from time to time, but some people do it more than others. And I just thought of a person. But that's another reason I like looking at baseball cards. A lot of people just blow through them and don't just are looking for the cards that are worth a lot, the shiny cards. I like looking at the photographs and thinking about different things. And like I said, this guy's stance reminded me of somebody. But behind every person is a story. Just like you have a story, I have a story. Every person has a story, and I like reading about the stories. But this is Theodore Radcliffe, nicknamed Double Duty. Double Duty, Theodore Radcliffe, born right here in Alabama, Mobile, Alabama. Double Duty, Double Duty's durability. Say that 10 times real fast. Double Duty's durability. But Double Duty's durability as a pitcher catcher led him to perform with three of baseball's greatest teams: the 1930 St. Louis Stars, the 1931 Homestead Grays, the 1932 Pittsburgh Crawfords. His 15-5 record for the 1931 Grays included victories over Bloomington of the Illinois League, uh, Charleroi of the Mid Atlantic League, and a no hit, no run win at Washington, Pennsylvania. Sometimes I read some of y'all's like chat, and it inspires me to like write a song. And the current one that just happened to me is a Weird Al type song, a play on words of "Video killed the radio star," but instead it's "Internet killed the brick and mortar store." Internet killed the brick and mortar store. What y'all think? Should I pursue that thought or just leave it alone? Asking for a friend. But as a catcher, Radcliffe's record 86 putouts and 91 total chances, while with Bismarck in the 1935 National Baseball Congress Tournament, stood for 29 years. Here's Wilbur Rogan. Wow, he's doing the same stance. Check him out. All right, we got Ted Radcliffe, hands behind the back, and Wilbur Rogan, hands behind the back. I guess it was contagious. I think about Wilbur from Mr. Ed. Um, that came to my mind when I heard about Wilbur. But Wilbur Rogan, known as Bullet, was born in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I've been there before. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Known as the innovator of the palm ball, Rogan was equally famous for his no wind-up delivery. At 5'7", wow, he's Jose Altuve's 5'6", so this guy's just an inch taller. He looked anything but intimidating. Yet the weight of his mighty arm. Imagine a 5'7" pitcher. Traveling Wilburys. Now there's a good name, but this is Wilbur, not Wilbury. I guess if you combine Wilbur and me, it would be Wilbury. But yeah, I love the Traveling Wilburys. My brother pretty much got me hooked on them. He would buy all of their cassette tapes when they come out. I think they had 3 cassette tapes. I want to say he bought them all, and we would listen to them all the time. It's a shame that Roy Orbison died, and it kind of ended that. But great group. If you know who the Traveling Wilburys are, you're good people. Yeah, love the Traveling Wilburys. Love Roy Orbison. Love Tom Petty and Jeff Lynne and great group. But Wilbur Rogan Bullitt, born in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, known as the innovator of the palm ball, Rogan. You get me started singing here in a minute, the Traveling Wilburys, um, but since I'm like, I guess I'm kind of sleeping delirious. Like I don't know which one I would sing. You was in Oklahoma in April. That's cool. Known as the innovator of the palm ball, Rogan was equally famous for his no wind-up delivery. At 5'7" he looked anything but intimidating. Yet the weight of his mighty arm and timber captured countless victories for the Kansas City Monarchs. Rogan spent 11 years in the military, so shout out to all those that have served. He spent 11 years in the military, primarily with the 25th Infantry, before making his Negro League debut in 1920 at age 31. He was virtually unbeatable at Kansas City's Muleback Field, where he posted league records of 60 and 19 as a pitcher, a 353 batting average, 42 doubles, 45 triples, 26 home runs. Handle me with care. See, you done got me started now. I'm so tired of being lonely. Won't you show me that you really care? Everybody loves somebody. Or no, everybody needs somebody to lean on. That's a good song. I'm trying to read cards here, Clump. Yeah, I don't think I mentioned George Harrison when I was talking about the Wilburys. So, um, I like how they all had their unique names. Like one of them was Lefty, and they had different names that they went by. Um, Rogan retired from active play in 1938 at the age of 49. Otis. I thought Otis was on the Andy Griffith show. Otis, Lucky. I know Lefty. Look at this guy's wind up. Man, I would strike out every time against this guy. He was scaring me. Look at that. Tony Stone. Look, he's sitting on the bench admiring his own self. Look at that. That's an awesome picture. I love that. Number 29 for the Clowns. Interesting. We're going to learn about the Clowns. Tony Stone for the Clowns, number 29. I would say he's intimidating. I would strike out against him. I would. He's throwing something. Let's learn about Marcinia L. Stone, nickname or shortened Tony. From Bluefield, West Virginia, Stone's undeniable ability and resilient personality helped her. What? It's a girl. I'm sorry. Unless they misspelled him, it's a girl. So let me read the rest of the story. I'm gonna have to read up on her. I'm interested now in Tony Stone. Stone's undeniable ability and resilient personality helped her become the first and most prominent female baseball player in sports history. All right, Gary, I appreciate you stopping by. You have a great Thursday remainder. She first attracted notice when performing at second base for local American Legion and Catholic League teams in St. Paul, Minnesota. She turned professional with the San Francisco Sea Lions of the West Coast Negro Baseball Association in 1949, then jumped to the New Orleans Creoles of the Negro Texas League. So there's y'all something else about Texas. The Negro Texas League before joining the Indianapolis Clowns. There's the team Indianapolis Clowns of the Negro American League. According to How News Bureau, Stone appeared in 107 American League games for the Clowns in 1953 and the Kansas City Monarchs in 1954, where she recorded 145 at bats, 32 hits, 13 runs, and hit 220. So I don't have to look up more about Tony Stone. Interesting. Sorry, I thought you were a man. But regardless, I'd still be intimidated. I wonder if she put that like face into every pitch. But I love them old gloves. That's you know throwback for sure. Jim Taylor. I wonder what Jim Taylor's thinking or saying there. He's pointing at somebody. He's like, "Don't forget to step on first base." Did Jim's mom not teach him that it's not nice to point? Just kidding, Jim. Just kidding. All right, Jim Taylor. Nicknames. I like the nickname Candy, the original Candy Man. Sammy Davis Jr. used to sing about him, the Candy Man can. James Allen Taylor Candy, born in Anderson, South Carolina, the most famous. Maybe y'all enjoy hearing about these old players. I super enjoy it. Kind of I know there's no time machines, but if there were, man, it'd be fun to go back and just talk to these people. I mean, I'm enjoying learning about them. The most famous of four brothers who also played professional baseball, Taylor's contributions as a player, manager, and scout were legendary. He entered the professional ranks with Birmingham, so there's my Alabama team, in 1904, and in 1909 went north with the St. Paul Gophers, embarking on a baseball legacy which lasted 4 decades. Famous for discovering and developing unknown talent, Taylor's Saint Stars won the second half of the 1925 split season and the Negro National League pennant in 1928. With the passing of Rube Foster, the Kansas City Call proclaimed Taylor as the man who really did more for the game than any other living Negro. Sorry to be off topic, Barry, but how far would it be for you to go see Savannah Bananas? I'm not sure exactly how far Savannah is. Uh, I'll have to look that up, Ty. Yeah, I definitely I like. They have a YouTube channel. I like watching them on YouTube. Uh, and I like how they like some of the players that have retired sometimes plays with them. And I like how they tour. They go around the different cities in the United States. They don't only play, in Savannah, but they visit like all the big cities. But Bill, the spaceman Lee, who's great signing autographs through the mail, he pitched for them uh, at least one time. Yeah, Clump just said it, the spaceman. I didn't see your comment when I was talking about it, Clump, but that's right. But they definitely are fun. I guess my favorite thing about them when I first heard about it is like when somebody hits a foul ball into the stands, and if a fan catches a foul ball, it's an automatic out. So they treat the fan just like they're a player on the field. So if they catch the ball, they're out. And I thought that's super cool. I guess it ain't the same as the Harlem Globetrotters, but it's kind of the same principle. Warren Zevon did a song about him. I don't guess I know that one. I know Werewolves of London. Werewolves of London. Ah, ooh, ooh. Sammy Davis Jr. was on the Rifleman. I guess I forgot about that. Maybe I did. It's kind of fuzzy on that, but I know Chuck Connors of the Rifleman played Major League Baseball uh, for the Chicago Cubs. I might. My dad has Chuck Connors autograph on a card. I'll have to show that sometime because I love the Rifleman. Basketball for the Celtics. Candy Taylor, the most famous of four brothers who also played professional baseball. Taylor's contributions as a player, manager, and scout were legendary. He entered the professional ranks with Birmingham in 1904 and in 1909 went north with the St. Paul Gophers. I think I've already read this. Embarking on a baseball legacy which lasted 4 decades. Famous for discovering and developing unknown talent, Taylor St. Stars won the second half of the 1925 split season in the Negroes National League pennant. Yeah, I've already read this. I got to get on to the next one. Larry Bird is awesome. Larry Bird's my favorite basketball player of all time. I wanted. There haven't been too many people that I could think of that I wanted to be. There's people that I've wanted to be like for sure, but as a kid, I wanted to be Larry Bird, and as a kid, you don't realize, hey, that's impossible. But I definitely, would. I love shooting the 3 pointers. I used to imitate like how he shot the ball over the backboard and made a basket. I used to copy that shot, and but he was my favorite basketball player of all time. Charles Barkley, that played here in Alabama, from Alabama, was my second favorite. Played at Auburn. But Moses Walker, there's a good mustache. Moses has a good mustache. Moses, one of my favorite Bible characters. This guy was probably named after him, but I don't know that. Moses Fleetwood, and he was before Fleetwood Mac, so he wasn't named after Fleetwood Mac, but Moses Fleetwood Walker Fleet. Born in Mount Pleasant, Ohio, it is Walker who deserves credit as the Major League's first Negro ball player. I think we've already heard that, and I thought they gave credit to somebody else as that. Now I'm confused. At Ohio's Oberlin College, he pioneered integration in professional sports, often amidst threats of bodily harm. Walker joined Toledo of the Northwestern League in 1883. In 1884, Toledo took a franchise in the American Association, a recognized major league, allowing Walker the team's barehanded catcher. Barehanded catcher? What in the world? Am I seeing that right? Barehanded catcher? Now, I know of barefooted kickers in football. I used to like to do that when I was a kid. I would barefoot punt, kick field goals barefooted, just in the yard. Not I didn't play for no team to do it, but I remember Rick Carlos of the Denver Broncos used to do it. But barehanded catcher. There's Phil Necro fan. Good to see you, Phil Necro fan. And I done forgot your name. I'm pretty new to you, so your name hasn't stuck with me yet. Maybe to come back to me before somebody says it, but or you say it. But Billy, thank you. I should have known that. But hello to Billy and happy Tuesday, Thursday. Thank you for stopping by. Just showing the Ted Williams cards from the 90s. I love these cards. Haven't looked at them in a while, but it's to me they're very educational, um, and I'm enjoying reading them. Hopefully, people are enjoying hearing about these different players. Um, Fleet Walker, in his only season of Major League play, Walker appeared in 42 games, hitting 263. He also appeared in the Western, Eastern, and International Leagues until 1890 when baseball borrowed him from the game he loved. Thank you, Joy, for dropping Phil Niekro Fan's link. Y'all go check him out. Obviously, he's a Phil Niekro fan, among other things. Joe Niekro pitched for my Astros, his brother. Here's George Wilson. Yo, Adrian. There's Adrian again. George Wilson. Let's see a little something about George. Nickname is Lefty. Born in Palmyra, Michigan. Wilson combined and underhand, overhand delivery. I got to look up that last guy. Now, that catching barehanded. I gotta look that one up. I should be writing this stuff down. Wilson combined an underhand overhand delivery to such an efficiency that he became a marvel of his day. He was only 19 in 1895 when he led Michigan State League pitchers and strikeouts, 280 innings, 298 wins, 29, and complete games 30. Between 1896 to 1900, Wilson served as ace of the world's champion Page Fence Giants of Adrian, Michigan, and the Columbia Giants of Chicago. Wilson had no hitters against Defiance, Michigan in 1896 and Brainerd, Minnesota in 1902. In 1903, he struck out 20 men. So there's something interesting. That's the major league record's 20. Kerry Wood struck out 20 of my Astros. Roger Clemens struck out 20. And a few more. But he struck out 20 men at Hope, North Dakota, and tossed yet another no-hitter over Pillsbury of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I think I'm going to stop with this one. This is the last one. There's still more. I still got a little bit left in the stack, but this is the last of the Negro Leagues that it has in this set, so I'm going to read this last one. And Sock is going to hop off. A sock hop. A sock hop, all right. But he's going to hop off so he could shower and head to bed. So good night, Sock. I appreciate you stopping by. Happy Thursday remainder. Get you some rest. Get recharged for a great day tomorrow. But I super appreciate you stopping by. The last guy for tonight is Judson Sock Hop. You like that? At the hop, hop, hop. Judson Wilson. Let's find out about Judson. Bojum, nicknamed Bojum, from Remington, Virginia. For more than 20 years, Wilson rated among baseball's hardest hitting infielders, stocky and temperamental. He spent 7 seasons with the Baltimore Black Sox of the Eastern Colored League before heading to Pittsburgh's Homestead Grays in 1931. Wilson's solid 1931 totals of 179 runs, 237 hits, 53 doubles, 15 triples, and 23 home runs in 131 games speak eloquently of his baseball prowess. He split 1932 with the Grays and Pittsburgh Crawfords, then joined the Philadelphia Stars, where he remained for the next 8 years. Wilson returned to the Grays in 1940 and retired from league play in 1945. So there you have it. my card showing of the night. I'll continue the rest of them on another date to be determined, Lord willing. But I appreciate everybody that stopped by. I guess I could read a devotional real quick to close it out. Don't want to leave out God's word, which really is the most important thing. But I'm reading from this devotional, Matthew West devotional, and what I've been doing is taking a random number from people out there, such as you, a number between 17 to 217, just a random number you pick. I'll turn to that page and read it, and that'll be my closing devotional for tonight. So if anybody's got a number between 17 and 217, let me hear it. Yeah, and I'll read a devotional for I'll be on for like 5 more minutes. And first one I seen was 35, and y'all remember those other numbers for future dates, future references. But I see you, Jeff, with your 63 and Clump with 188. But I seen 35. And when I first see 35, I know why Phil Necro fan 35 put 35. I guess I know. I don't 100% know, but I'm thinking because of Phil Necro being number 35 is his reasoning. But the first number that comes to my mind is not Phil Necro, but is Frank Thomas, who played at Auburn University here in Alabama. He's one of my favorite baseball players of all time, Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt. But here's page 35. So shout out to Phil Necro fan 35 who suggested 35. If it'll focus, there it is, 35. God's Day Planners, the devotional. The key verse, one of my favorite verses, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. Yeah, there was two Frank Thomases in baseball, and I don't have my favorite Frank Thomas is the Auburn player. I don't have his autograph. But I have he goes by the original one, Frank Thomas. He passed away, but he also played. He played for a lot of different teams, also with the Astros, but other teams. But I'm getting sidetracked. But 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7, we walk by faith, not by sight. I had to remind myself that all the time. Walk by faith, not by sight. The importance of the spiritual over the physical. Have you ever wondered what God's day planner would look like? All right, you might have a day planner for yourself, but have you ever wondered what God's day planner looks like? Especially the page that lists his plans for you. That's right, God has arranged a special day for you today. The truth is, every day is a specially designed day for those who trust in God. He can even make the things that seem to go wrong turn out just right. That happens when we walk in faith. Everything on God's day planner is meant for our ultimate good. That's another one of my favorite verses, Romans chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love the Lord, to them that are called according to his purpose. Everything on God's day planner is meant for our ultimate good. But sometimes we might not see the good until later. That's an awesome point. We might not think of something as being good, but God can use it for good. Sometimes much later. The best way to understand the present events in our lives is to look back on them from the vantage point of the future. You see, if you've ever read of Joseph in the Old Testament, one of the last verses in the book of Genesis is about Joseph, and man, he had so many things to go against him, or what he thought was going against him. His own brothers threw him into a hole, and they wanted to kill him. Some of them did, and they sold him into slavery. And I mean, his brothers were bad to him. They mistreated their brother. But at the end of Genesis, what does Joseph say about all the mistreatments by his brother? He says, you intended it for bad. You meant it for bad. All the mistreatings against me, you meant it for bad. But God worked it for good. You see, God used that Joseph's life, um, that Joseph got to be second in command in Egypt. And also, a lot of Israelites were saved because of Joseph during the famine. You see, God worked it together for good. He didn't see it at the time, but at the end of it, he was able to say, "Hey, you meant it for bad, but God worked it together for good." So we can remember that. So regardless of what comes at you today, trust and praise God. If I were to look in your day planner today, I hope I would see the words "live by faith" today. That's really all you need to schedule a happy and successful day. So how to schedule a happy and successful day? Just live it by faith. God's gonna take care of you. Just trust in Him. He's gonna work it for good. If you love Him, if you're living according to His will, He'll work it all for good. That's something to be happy about. But I appreciate everybody that stopped by. My time is up. I thank you for yours. I want to remind everybody that I love everybody. I don't hate anybody, and it's all because of somebody who died for me. But just remember, you can't stay here. You got to go somewhere. But wherever you go, proceed with kindness. Good night. God bless y'all, and I hope to see you again somewhere down the road. Thank you so much for being here. It means a lot. It touches my heart, and God bless y'all.